And hello all of my fellow nerds out there, this is Oracle Nerd Richie and welcome back to Our Life Beginning and Always. Oh my gosh, so we're gonna be so this time we're gonna be stepping into, I believe, step 4? Because last time we ended step 3 and I was honestly been very excited for this. So I've been very excited for this the entire time. So without further ado, let's go ahead and just, I guess, customize your character again. um. Okay, yeah, pull back seems that seems more like me what I am now. Okay. Okay, that seems correct. We can braid, pigtails, ponytail 2, ponytail 1. Yeah, that one seems close to my avatar. That one seems close to me. Hair front color. Yeah, it's still the same. Change page. I really like the rosy cheeks. They're really nice. Freckles. I don't have any acne anymore last I checked. And my hand size is probably large at this point. Chubby, slender, large. Yeah. This is no earrings. Change. I don't have any scars I know of. Change page. What else we got? Oh, we can get tattoos now. Unfortunately, I don't have any tattoos. Let's see. Ring, jewels, pattern, plain. Nail color, nose ring. Oh, it's tiny, but you can see it. I don't have a nose ring though. Headscarf? Nah. Okay, I think we're good. Done. Direct, nervous. Yeah, let's stick with relaxed. Relaxed love. Ready? Yes. Code customization. Okay, I don't want to know what he looks like. I want to be surprised. So let's go with neither. Let the past experiences do. What is Code's initiative in step 4? Ah. Oh, the thing we talked about in step 3. You guys don't know what it's talking about, just go watch the other parts first. It'll explain it. Let's keep it middle initiative. And so, your days growing up in the loving cradle of Sunset Bird came to an end. In the years that passed since graduation, you've moved out of your childhood home and made your own way in the world. You lived alone, lived with a pet, lived with pets, lived with Cove and his fish, Cove, his fish, and a pet you picked. Oh gosh. I actually don't know which one I want. I guess I could say I lived with pets, I guess. And you worked at a fine company, had your own business, co-owned a business with Cope, had multiple ways of earning income, were still focused on pursuing education. None of these sound like me at all. I'm a gamer. I'm a gamer, not a worker. Let's just go with still focused on pursuing education, because that seems to be the closest that I'm ever get to being a gamer. Family members went through the same kinds of leaps into independence. Liz and Lee both eventually earned degrees and started fantastic careers in new towns. But your mom's and Co's father still lived in the same street as they had for all those years before. It was comforting to you that there were some things that remained in the old neighborhood. You know what they say, people. The more things change, the more they stay the same. And despite the ever-changing reality of your adult life, that your friends were still your friends. Though, of course, things weren't exactly the same for them either. Very recently, Terry publicly came out as a man and switched to spelling his name with the use of a Y instead of an I. Oh, big changes, okay. He also confessed his love to Miranda, which she excitedly reciprocated. They moved in together recently, and I mean, I knew they were going to be together. I just didn't expect it to be like this. But you know what? I'm proud of them. I'm proud of the two. They moved in together recently in the city out past Sunset Bird. Derek was as busy as always, but doing well. He always made an effort to keep in touch, and you even saw each other in person occasionally. One person who did appear to shuffle a few memories inside your mind was Baxter. After his vacation to Sunset Bird one year, he was just gone. That was a loss you felt. He had become someone you'd considered a friend during those days. And then there's what became of the sad little boy you grew up with, Cove Holden. Your deep affection for him was something that continued to last unabated over the years. But hopefully you would commit to each other someday. You didn't want your relationship to change from what it was. The two of you got engaged. He was your fiancé. Oh, I don't know which one I want. You would commit to each other even more someday. I mean, the top one doesn't really seem accurate anymore since me and Cove already pretty much reciprocated our feelings and is kind of public now. And the bottom one seems a little too perfect. Like, there's no such thing as absolute perfection. So you know, I always say, when in doubt, you middle it out. And luckily, things worked out for the two of you. You still live pretty close. Bye. Unfortunately, you and Cove lived in locations far from each other. I kind of wanted to do the first one, I won't lie. He truly thrived in his continued efforts of cultivating loving and supportive relationships with his family and friends. You couldn't say his personality had changed exactly. Instead, it became more refined. Cove was a warm and inviting and considerate man who took the lessons he learned over the years to treat the people around him with patience and understanding. When Cove eventually developed a picture of the future he wanted to have as an adult, you could see where he was coming from based on his past interests. Cove decided against pursuing a degree and focused fully on building up a career. He got a small business of his own, teaching surf lessons, and he still volunteered with Orca when his workload allowed it. As an adult, Cove was also able to recognize and have diagnosed that he was on the autism spectrum. It was something that hadn't been fully noticed by his doctors as a child, but he was still the same Cove he always was to you, and he was just glad to understand himself better. It thrilled you to see how happy and successful he'd grown up to be. On the whole, life continued its steady beat forward, and you all went with it down the path you chose. It was strange and wonderful. But no matter how old you got, how far you roamed, or how long you were away, the home you had in Sunset Bird still called you back eventually. The car rumbled down the highway. You had started to zone out when a truck on the left lane loudly zoomed past. Your driver didn't remark on it, but just like anything else this trip, you went back to staring out the window, letting the scenery pass you by. You did appreciate the spacious backseat of your ride. You hadn't known exactly when you would be coming in, so you decided to use a ride app, most likely Uber, rather than ask your mom to pick you up. It had turned out to be a convenient choice. You looked forward to surprising your parents at the door. You smiled at the thought of their faces lighting up. Luckily, this hadn't been that big of a trip for you. You looked close enough that the travel hadn't turned into a big production. However, that didn't make the occasion mundane. For once, your moms had decided to have a modest celebration dinner for their anniversary. Unlike when you were growing up, they preferred not to make a big deal out of it. This year, they were comfortable having a party. As time went on, they had found being at the center of attention easier to handle. You were happy to see it. With this going on, there was no way that either you or Liz would miss your mom's anniversary. Both of you made plans to come back home for it. You didn't hear from Liz about her exact schedule, but you hadn't shared yours either. It reminded you of when you were kids, and you both knew to show up for dinner, but it didn't keep each other in the loop for each other's pre-dinner plans. This was the same concept after all. Some things stayed the same, and yet it was definitely different from when you would see your sister every day. Knew sort of what she was doing, anyways, from osmosis. Today, you had no idea. Things were always changing. You mused on how times it was hard to believe you didn't live with your parents anymore, and yet you also couldn't imagine going back and living as a kid under their rules. The rest of the drive flew by. Your silent driver provided a smooth ride. No sharp turns, no hard stops jostled you out of your own head. Your thoughts turned from introspective to observant. The landscape passing by became more and more familiar. You frequently recognized the landmarks that dotted the area. A grin came to your face as you passed by the now entering sign for Sunset Bird. Excitement built within you. You were really here. You were doing this. Your driver turned off on the street, and you realized that their map program was taking you the way home that Ma preferred. You usually would have used the other side of the street to pass by the beach. In no time at all, the car had gone through the whole town and pulled in front of your mom's condo. The car slowed to a stop and parked. With the buzz of the highway gone, you realized that you could hear the familiar sounds of waves. The air smelled like salt, and a rush of childhood memories flooded back. You started to gather your things and humming to yourself once more about how happy your moms would be to see you. After that, you'd notify everyone else that you'd made the trip safely. You pulled over your suitcase from the other seat and yanked at your bag from down near your feet. Tap, tap. You startled at the sudden sound of tapping on glass. It caused you to pause. Did you really hear what you thought you did? You weren't entirely sure because you soon heard something else at the window the opposite side of the car rolling down. It confused you until you put it together. Despite the driver's silence, you were actually alone in this car. The driver must have pressed a button. Someone had to be there. You turned your head to face the now open window. Oh, who is it? Is it my boy? Oh, it's my boy! Did his hair get shorter or longer? I can't tell. There he was, leaning his arms across the window. Your beloved Cove Holden. He beamed at you with one of his precious open smiles. Hey, Richie. What a surprise this is. I didn't expect to see you in this neighborhood. He was joking, of course. Seeing your expression, he decided to push it further. It's not like I've been waiting for you out here all morning or anything. Cove, I've been the one waiting to see you. I'm sorry to keep you waiting. You survived. You screamed excitedly. You stared stunned. Sorry to keep you waiting. He chuckled at your apology and inclined his head. Don't worry about it. He then gripped on the top of the car door and pushed half of his torso through the opening. That was when the driver broke the silence with a sharp "Hey!" Cove did not seem to notice and continued climbing through the window. He pushed one hand down the middle so he'd prop his dangling body up. He used his other hand to caress your cheek as he leaned in close as he could. I missed you. Oh, his hair did get longer! Oh. And crossed your hands, covered his hands with yours. You flicked his nose. You did your best hug without knocking him down. You grinned at him. Come on, why not? He enthusiastically reciprocated. The arm holding him wobbled at your touch, and you could feel him smiling at your smooch. He was clearly struggling to avoid falling down into the cushion. You pulled back just a little to get a better view of his face. Okay, now get out of the window, you crazy person. You're so cute. I really should have expected this. You and your windows. Still has that habit, doesn't he? I really should have expected this. You and your windows. I promise this was unplanned. I know. Still doesn't make a difference. Co's smile turned awkward as his arm started to bend lower, causing his body to slide downwards to it. He turned his head to the driver. Sorry, I'm always causing trouble in this neighborhood. Co shifted around some more and squirmed back the way he came. After he had successfully pushed off the window and landed on the pavement with a thump, you opened your car door. You threaded your arms through the various straps of your bag and climbed out. Co took a few long strides around the back of the car and quickly met you on your side. Bruh, he's tall as shit. I don't even think I'm that tall. I think I'm like 5'8", 5'9" last I checked. I don't remember. This guy looks like he's like 6 foot something. I don't know. Co stood in front of you. It struck you that the two of you were back in Sunset Bird, reunited once again on the street. You jumped to his arm, you gave him a friendly punch, you ruffled his hair, you held your hand out for a high five, you fist bump, you waved shyly at him. No, of course I'm gonna jump into his arms. Get over here. But you put your luggage down first. You dropped your bags on the paved road and got a bounding start to leap at Cove. He caught you, unsurprised at your action. When you were situated, he leaned back on the balls of his heels and fully lifted you off the ground. His goofy grin let you know just how much he was enjoying your enthusiastic embrace. You were too tall for him to pick you up too far off the ground. That being said, he still gave his best effort, and you enjoyed the inch or so between your toes in the pavement. With one last swing, he let you back down. You really were ecstatic to be around him again, and absolutely thrilled that it was here in this town where you were together. Co's schedule had let him come up earlier than you. He only arrived at the evening before, however, and secured the hotel room. Even though you didn't live far from each other, you still managed to see Cove often. It felt like it had been way too long since your last meeting. Oh! You readily shifted your luggage, and it struck you that you were the short one. You got out in such a hurry it was left behind. You reached back into the car and pulled it out. Co stood aside as you made a dash for the door. You shouldered the small bag and felt relief that you would be able to brush your teeth tonight. Got everything this time? You stood up straight. Everything truly gathered up out of the car. You gave the back seat one last glance and then nodded. Oh, this actually reminds me of the time when I was coming back up to my home from visiting my dad, right? And I was going to the trunk. I was gonna open it. I hit the trunk to let the driver know to open it. I was holding on to the trunk, and he started driving up. I'm like, wait, don't drive off just yet. I have my stuff in here, you dolt. Well, I didn't say the you dolt part, but like, I still have my stuff in here. He's like, oh, sorry. He opens the trunk, I get my stuff out. Like, I know how the main character here feels, cause he's literally me. Co shut the door after you had moved out of the way. The two of you stepped off the street to give the driver some room. Co waved. Sorry again. The driver said nothing and drove off. With the road cleared, you let your gaze drift across the neighborhood and that you had known forever. Oh, dude, if Cove changed this much after all this time, I wonder how our moms have changed. I really want to see what they look like. It was such a small place to spend so many days. You were flooded with memories of going up and down the street during every stage of your life. Being a little kid, following your big sister to the playground, becoming a teen and staying out later, and growing into an adult who left their parents' house behind to be independent. You could feel this. You could feel the summer sun on your skin from all the times you headed out to the beach. You saw the same surroundings that you as a young adult did when leaving home. It was it was hard to quantify the amount of history you had here. And now you were back. Despite taking in the neighborhood again, you never lost awareness of Cope's presence. From the corner of your eye, seeing him there was a very familiar sight as well. So many of your memories included him. Your mind drifted from the neighborhood itself to the person who used to live there. You couldn't help the feeling of nostalgia. You still remembered his face, his voice, the scar on his arm from days long gone. He had changed so much since you first met him, yet even with those changes, he was always still recognizable. Yeah, I don't know, maybe it's because of the green hair. He was familiar like the sky was, in the way you knew the sea. Every day they may appear different, but they're still an inextricable part of life. It was the world, with help from Mr. Holden and his ill-thought $20 bill, that brought you together to begin with, but the two of you had chosen each other. You had never let your interactions fade. You had decided to nurture your relationship into what it was. And you would continue to keep Cove close into all the rest of your adult years. Cove was the partner you wanted for life. For life, you couldn't be more grateful to call him your boyfriend. It would be impossible to imagine life without him. Cove noticed you staring at him after a while and smiled with his eyebrows raising in curiosity. He was very transparent in his question if there was something you wanted to say. You shook your head and returned him a soft expression. You'd let yourself get carried away in the tide of the memories, but now it's time to focus on the present. Ready to go see my mom's? Cove nodded and then pointed at all your luggage bundled around your legs. Can I help you with any of that? You can help with all of it. It's like carrying all my groceries in. No, the house is literally right there. No, you drop them. Yeah, thank you. You gratefully passed him a bag. It was a lot easier to balance everything with that out of the way. He used both hands to take hold of one piece of the luggage and stood tall, pleased to be able to provide his assistance. The bag situation resolved, the two of you strolled over to the James residence's door. You started to pat your pockets instinctively, only to realize that you no longer carried a key to the house. Your eyes scanned the entryway a little lost, only to spy the doorbell. The thought of having to ring it felt super weird. As you pressed the inconveniently placed button on the side wall, you remembered that no matter how much this place would always be a home to you, it wasn't where you lived. Being back here was like putting on a uniform after you quit the store where it came from. It had remained the same, but your circumstances had changed. Cove shifted on his feet awkwardly, obviously also thrown about you being stuck out here, keyless. You heard muffled voices shuffling around from inside. Your heartbeat sped up in anticipation. I can't wait to see the two. I really want to see what they look like. The door swung open and there was your mom's smiling face. She immediately brightened at seeing you standing there. Well, well, well. She looks adorable. Mom twisted her head back and gave a shout down the hall. Lonnie, guess who's here? There was more distant noises, no doubt Ma getting up from wherever she was to come see. Her high-spirited words rang out clearly. I hope it's one of my children. Why did I change her voice? Mom snickered, still holding the door only half open to hide you for a little longer. Cove flushed as if suddenly realizing that he was going to be present for your mom's enthusiastic welcoming of you. You smiled to reassure him that he wasn't intruding. Ma finally reached the door and peered over Mom's shoulder. It is. Hello, Richie. I love her outfit. It's so cute. Look at her. She gave you a once-over, patting the tops of your shoulders and moving down the sides of your arms before she nodded in satisfaction that you were in one piece.
How sweet.
This is a wonderful surprise. Ma inclined her head to Cove next, not leaving him out either. Hello, sweetie. You count as one of my kids at this point, anyways. I have double the surprise today.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You snorted at your mom's greeting. They never changed. Cove bashfully waved at them. He hadn't relaxed fully, but he had settled down at their welcome. Well, don't just stand out there. Come on in. Your mom moved aside and held the door open for you, gesturing for you to enter. You stepped inside the living room. It was comfortable and cool. Cove was a half step behind you. His eyes were on a new painting your moms must have added since the last time you were here. Things were mostly the same, but there were more decorations since you had seen the house last. Mom may have gotten the urge for some interior designing again. It struck you how odd it was to be a guest, only observing their choices for the living space here, rather than a full-time occupant. Ma came up in front of you, excitement in her eyes. I'm so glad you're here.
That's fine.
You know your mom and I would have been happy to pick you up, but you're self-sufficient and responsible. That's okay. What matters is that you arrived safely. Mom appeared at her side with a nod. Look at the two of them! They're adorable! Welcome back, kiddos. You appreciated that your parents respected you as an adult, even if Mom still called you kiddo. You figured long ago that you'd always be her kiddo, no matter how grown you become. It was part of the whole parent-child deal with her. Mom, give him a hug. You took another step forward and pulled Mom and Ma into a great big hug, squeezing them tight. Their arms wrapped around you in return. You could feel their love for you in their embrace. I've missed you both. We missed you too, Richie. It's always nice when I'm able to come by. Your mom's giggled, pleased. I hope you've been doing well. Is everything set up for your anniversary dinner?
No problem.
We're happy to help if there's something we can do. We've been plenty fine. It's been a little quiet, but that's not a bad thing. Mom placed her arm around Ma's shoulder and gave her a side hug.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about the party. We're just planning to eat at the Cypress. Nothing fancy, which is kind of funny thing to say about a pretty fancy country club. The biggest issue has just been making sure everyone could make it for the day. Speaking of which, Liz will be arriving tonight. We're planning on picking her up later. I guess Liz isn't as grown up as Richie. Mom snickered at her own joke, and Ma lightly elbowed her with a barely hidden grin.
Shush.
As I was saying, she could drop you off whenever you're wherever you're staying, if you don't mind waiting for that. I'm sorry there's not enough space in the house. It's gotten crowded in the old rooms since you and Liz moved out. I don't know where all this stuff keeps coming from. Sure you don't, Pamela. It's okay. Cove already has a hotel room. I'm gonna be staying in anyway. Cove sent some pictures of the place when he arrived. Stylish and roomy. It seemed very nice. It was a room with a single king bed. It was a double room. You know which one I'm gonna pick. He claimed that the bed was comfortable, so you had high hopes about that. Though mostly you were looking forward to having him next to you as you slept once again. Your mom smiled, relieved. Kara's already here, isn't she? She directed her question at Cove. He bobbled his head a bit, going along with his reply. Yeah, I heard she made it. She's gonna be staying with Dad while she's in town.
Oh?
Have you gone over and said hello? Cove chuckled self-consciously, and this time he shook his head. He raised an eyebrow since you had figured he would have taken a chance while waiting for you. Not yet. I should go do that now. I just wanted Richie to be there too. He caught your eyes with an adoring smile. Mom laughed at that, no doubt thinking that Cove was sweet but ridiculous.
How nice.
It's nice to know your priorities. Yeah. Cove awkwardly rubbed his arm and shifted on his feet, looking all too much like he did as a kid.
So?
Richie, you want to go over to my house now? That's a good idea. We won't be leaving until late evening. You heard Ma. Let's go see your parents. Cove perked back up, excited once more. We'll keep an eye out on your things while you're out. There's no reason to be carrying all that around. You set your bags in the living room and tucked into a corner where they wouldn't be in the way. Cove helped. Your moms waved the two of you off as you walked back to the entranceway. Thanks. See you soon. You waved back and opened the front door for Cove. With that, you were on your way to see Cove's family next. Oh, it makes me curious on how much Kyra and Cliff had changed. This trip put a special little pep in Cove's step as you crossed the street to his dad's house together. Your spirits were equally high. Doing this, you felt like a teen again. You had known Cove's parents for a long time now. When it came to what you called his dad, stuck with a familiar classic Mr. Holden. First back saying Cove's dad, you were on a first name basis with Cliff. Yeah, I think that sounds easier. Although it was awkward on your tongue at first, it rolled off comfortably now. You appreciated how much he saw you as an adult and friend, and not just some kid from across the street. For his mom, you called her Mom 3 in a non-serious way. You were still on a first name basis with Kyra. Okay, well, I feel like this is gonna be a major choice, so no matter what I call her, the story's probably gonna be still the same. You call her Mom 3 in a non-serious way. That sounds fun. A playful grin was already settling on your face. You hadn't even gone there yet, and it was always fun to hang out with her. Cove hopped to the front door and didn't bother knocking. He twisted the knob and swung it open. With a grin, Cove gave you a gratified thumbs up. You shook your head in disapproval, but you both knew that you hypocritically supported his behavior. Your dad is lucky we aren't criminals. He brushed your comment aside and went right into his old home. Cliff was there, standing in the kitchen and babysitting a pan on the stove. Oh! His hair did get longer! Okay, honestly, I love it. His head turned at the sound of the footsteps, and brightened instantly at the sight of you both. Cove matched his enthusiasm instantly. If it was anyone else, you would have thought he was lighting up with a childlike joy over seeing his dad again. But since you knew that Cove was actually like a kid, you were aware of his level of happiness with Cliff. When Cliff was definitely not equivalent to any childhood feelings of his. Dad! Cove! Cliff gracelessly pushed away what he was cooking to a different burner and flipped off the heat. He rushed over to you both. Cove flew forward and met him halfway in a hug. Cove squished his eyes shut and held his dad in a tight hug. Cliff soothingly rubbed his son's back. Ugh, I can't read. The more of an adult Cove became, the more he turned into a big daddy's boy, it seemed. I missed you. I missed you too. It was sweet, and teasing aside, it was wonderful to see them at this place in their relationship after years of struggling to connect. When the hug broke, Cliff hooked an arm around his son's neck. He let out a deep laugh. I still can't believe you outgrew me. I really thought that on him. I really thought I had that on him after he graduated from high school, but then he had to keep going. Chuckling, he shook his fist in mock anger. Cove ducked his head and laughed in kind. Sorry, Dad. Cove's cheeks turned pink, and he averted his eyes. He was becoming bashful, so you knew he had more he wanted to say. Cove softly added,
That's...
But I was raised really well. Cove's dad's expression instantly crumbled with emotion. He sniffed. Cove put an arm around him, too, and tugged him into a side hug. You observed their little reunion fondly, happy to let them enjoy the moment. They were a perfect pair of sentimentality. Aww. Look at his mouth, it's all squiggly. Cliff eventually turned his attention to you.
Hey.
Hey, Richie. So great to see you. He pulled away from Cove and approached you with a little wave. He was back to his cheery self. Cliff, it's so nice to see you. He gave his arm a pat. His expression morphed into a softer one at your gesture. A light chuckle escaped him just before you felt a soothing wave of acceptance settle in your chest. It wasn't the first time and it wouldn't be the last time he made you feel this welcome. You were so happy to be home. I miss seeing your face around here. Thank you. Cliff cleared his throat, pulling attention to himself. He crossed his arms. But before we get too carried away, it's not a real reunion yet. Kyra's still in the guest suite. I'll go get her. He eagerly bolted down the hall, and you could hear every step he took. It ended with a distinct knock. Kyra, they're here. It was only seconds before there was a sound of the door being yanked open. The pounding of feet hitting the wood floor grew even louder this time.
My baby.
Oh, she looks adorable! Look at her! That outfit definitely works for her. Next to you, Cove let out a nervous laugh. His parents entered the living room, but Kyra stretched her arms out wide when he spotted you both. Cove went to her easily. You went in for a hug too. She pulled you tightly in her arms with Cove. You were squished, but felt every bit of love Kyra held in her heart for both of you. Cove wrapped his free arm around her too. He rested his head on top of hers and let out a happy sigh. After a moment, Kyra let go and pulled back to get a better look at your faces. She surveyed every inch of them and appeared satisfied. You're both looking well. That's wonderful. And just what I like to see.
Thanks.
Thanks. And hi, Mom. You look great too, Mom 3. One day soon, I'll let you in on my secrets. Kyra winked, and you both had zero doubts that she held precious knowledge to you looking your best. She was stunning every time you saw her. I'd be honored. So what's new? How have you both been? Kyra gave a nod for Cliff to go first. Cheerfully, he waved a hand.
No worries.
Oh, same old, same old. Still got the shop. Still got my friends and family, of course. And still, the most exciting thing around here is seeing who'll rent that one free condo. Incredible. I always knew you were such a snore. They snickered, and you couldn't help but peek at Cove. He rolled his eyes dramatically, drawing out a few giggles from you. The whole time there was still a happy smile fixed on his face.
Well.
For me, things have been good. I've gotten a lot of interesting assignments lately. Oh, I recently went to Seattle, and Kyra twisted a strand of her hair shyly. Her mouth curved into a grin. Whatever she was thinking about, it made her happy. Things have still been going well with that guy from work, but it's a little early to bring him all the way out to California to meet the family. Cole crossed his arms. He and his dad nodded. It was clear she appreciated the acceptance from her two boys. I'm really happy for you. That's great. I hope he gets a seal of approval when he comes around. You added a thumbs up to keep things light. Her smile widened, grateful for your gesture. So that's us. Do you two have any plans for the first day back? The only thing I have to do is pick up Liz later tonight before we head back to our hotel room.
Great.
Great. He suddenly looked over his shoulder, his eyebrows pushed together. I'm glad you're here, but I just remembered that I was in the middle of cooking something. Only a small cackle escaped you while you fought off the giant grin taking over your face. Meanwhile, Cove erupted into laughter, and that had his dad shaking his head. That's fine, Dad. Go salvage what you can. I think it'd be nice to explore the old neighborhood for a while. Anyways, since we've got the time. Cove directed the last part to you as he spoke, hoping that you'd want to go with him. You nodded automatically. You were already looking forward to it. That's a perfect idea.
Makes sense.
I think so too. You should go and enjoy the day. I'll hang back here so I won't be a third wheel, and someone's gotta keep an eye on Cliff before he catches the whole kitchen on fire. Mom, you're not a third wheel. Cove stiffly stuck his arms against his sides like a child. A small smirk tugged at Kyra's mouth. She winked. You know what I mean. Have a good walk. I'll see you both later. Cheerily, Cliff waited before going back to his cooking. Cove smiled warmly.
Bye.
Okay, bye. Bye, we'll see you soon. Cove trailed behind you as you walked into the welcoming summer sun. He stopped, closing his eyes to stretch his arms in the warm rays. You felt Cove take your hand, you took his, you linked your arm around his. Can I have a piggyback ride? Do you want a piggyback ride? Oh, the old piggyback rides, remember? You walked side by side. Of course I'll take his hand, why not? Your hand slotted into place through his fingers. Glancing at you, his mouth pulled into a bent smile, your fingers intertwined. Naturally, you found yourself heading down the road towards the beach. Your spirits rose even higher as you strolled across the sand, heading for the shopping district. Arriving, you wove past tourists who were taking in the sights for the very first time. Being a local was a badge of honor you proudly wore. You casually walked past the shops. Over the years, some had closed down, but many of the stalls were still exactly the same as they were when you were little. Cove snapped his head as far as it could go to one side, so dramatically you could have missed it. Something clearly caught his eye, but you couldn't see it.
Please?
There's a pretzel stand open today. Can we get one? When his gaze found you again, he wore the biggest smile. You chuckled. You don't need to ask for my permission. Does your heart want a pretzel? Yep, it does. For a moment, you both quietly laughed at that. You placed your hand over your own heart. Then I think you should follow it. You're gonna get the one that comes with the little frosting cup, aren't you? That's right. After that, you both happily made your way over, being pulled in faster by the delicious aroma of the stall. With that, you changed course to the pretzel stand for a snack break. Cove was very pleased by the morsel he picked up. That was good to see. The sun arched across the sky as you went up and down the road as a pair. By the time you returned to the beach, day was beginning to fade into night. Cove kicked off his shoes, tossing into the sand. He wanted to get his feet wet as the waves as fast as possible. Of course I'll join him. In seconds you had your feet free, your shoes abandoned in the sand. You kept going until you were ankle deep in the water. Cove sighed contentedly. You followed his line of sight to the setting sun, painting the sky with hues of orange and pink. It really feels like summer now. He wore a bent smile when he turned to you. The light illuminated like a halo behind him. The sight took your breath away. In fact, it's hard to think of anything that feels more perfectly summer than moments exactly like this. Being here at Sunset Bird with you. I'm so glad you were able to come back to visit. You hummed in agreement. Your heart fluttered the moment you met Cove's eye. Your mouth lifted into a pleased smile. I guess it's not so bad being back in your old neighborhood. This is a wonderful day. Of course you would have ended up like this again sooner or later. I'm happy too. The last rays of sun glittered on the water, mesmerizing you. You couldn't help but feel like this was exactly where you both belonged right now. Cove murmured quietly, losing himself in his thoughts again. Shortly after, you saw his hand shoot down into the sand. He stood straight back up with a lopsided smile. You got to work brushing the sand off his prize. You knew without a single word Cove found a new shell for your collection. As you wandered down the beach, Cove followed your side in comfortable silence. Your shadows stretched across the sand like they were leading the way. The only noise you could hear was the soft footfalls of your feet and the waves gently rocking into the shore. For a moment in time, it felt like there were only the two of you in your own little world. Eventually, the bubble popped when you realized that your phone was going off. It was Ma, hoping that you were going to be back soon. Curious, Cove's eyes slid down to your phone. You let your hand fall back down to your side. You held your phone pressed against the palm of your hand. It's Ma. She wants to know when we'll be there. Cove scratched the back of his neck, shook his head. His mouth twitched like he just had a funny thought. Dang, parents. Always trying to make us come home before it gets too dark, huh? You laughed. There's no escape from curfew as long as we're in this neighborhood. Parents are such a pain. It sucks that you have to leave already. Don't act like a little kid. You shrugged. There's no escape from curfew as long as we're in this neighborhood. It's like we warped back into being little kids the moment we set foot at this entrance sign. Cove's nose crinkled in fake disgust, and you both burst into a fit of giggles. It'd be nice not to not have to worry about bills again. Sometimes. After one last glance, you put your phone away. Cove gave a small shrug. Ready? Yep. Let's go. Together you left the beach, feeling the call of home pulling you forward. The both of you ran off towards your mom's house, leaving the waves behind, but welcoming the beginning of summer. Cove and you ran up the beach and sand flying from your steps. Cove made it to the road first, but you managed to catch up to him by the time you reached your house. It wasn't exactly a race, and yet it also wasn't not a competition. Both of you were laughing by the time you bumbled through your old front door. You inhaled deeply, shouted loud enough to be heard. Oh, we're in the house. We're here! Your moms were seated in the living room. Their eyes sparkled as they locked on you in your light dusting of sand.
Hello.
Welcome home. Mom leaned forward, eyebrows raised at your jubilant entrance. Ma sighed wistfully.
Aww.
That brings back memories. Cove chuckled shyly as he scratched the back of his head. I hope we're not too late. Nope, you're just in time. You better start packing it up. Liz will be waiting. Ma nodded as she stood up from her seat. She lightly ran her fingers over her clothes to smooth out the wrinkles. It took you a second to remember where you had put your stuff. You needed to get it all in the car so you could get everything back to your hotel. Can I help? You shrugged and directed him over to your bags. With Cove, your moms, and yourself on the job, it only took one trip to the car to get everything. Cove firmly closed the trunk and you thanked everyone for the assistance. Of course, kiddo. Come along, James family. Let's get in the car. That means you too, Cove. You're essentially family You're essentially family anyways. Thanks. Exactly. Well said, Richie. Cove climbed into the back seat with a decidedly touched expression on its face. You got in on the other side. When everyone was buckled, the engine was started and Ma pulled into the street. You couldn't help but feel amused to be stuck in the back seat with Cove. Your mom's driving you around. It really was like you were little kids again. Cove caught you staring at him and gave you a bent smile. He was probably on the same wavelength as you from the sheer mischief in it. There was some light chatting on the drive. No one brought up anything too deep. It was mostly became swapping jokey stories. The entire trip was marked by a heavy sense of anticipation. Everyone was ecstatic to see Liz and hear what she had been up to. I actually can't wait to see what Liz looks like. When you neared the airport, Mom pulled out her phone to call Liz. Mom followed the signs to the correct pickup area and asked for you to shout if you saw your sister. Yeah, Liz, we're in Wing B. There's a blue sign that says North America.
All right.
Tell her that we're right in front of the building with the blue windows. She says that she's outside, right by a yellow truck. I see at least 3 yellow trucks. I think they're doing work at the airport. Back and forth continued, and Ma driving around in wide, circular airport road while Mom attempted to coordination between her and Liz's location. Aha! You leaned forward, peering out the front of the car. A tall, poised silhouette pulled the pale purple roll-along suitcase behind her. It was definitely Liz. You waved to the car. Bob parked along the sidewalk next to her, and Mom put her phone away with a cheer. Mission accomplished, team. Mom excitedly reached over to grasp Mom's raised hand, thrilled that both of her kids were back.
Good job.
That's right. Liz came closer and yanked open the back door beside her. She popped her head in the car, her smile ornery despite how tired she appeared. It must have been a long trip for her, yet her expression was that same familiar smirk you had grown up with.
Hey.
Yoo! She looks cool! Hello, children. I'm back. Liz. Rude. Welcome. Oh, hey, my old grandparent who doesn't have any kids. Welcome back. Thanks. You too. You quickly unbuckled and then launched yourself at your sister. She wrapped her arms around you and squeezed. Well, hi to you too, kiddo. Hello, sweetie. It's so nice that you're here. Hi, Elizabeth. He jokingly huffed at her. We're not children. Whatever you say, baby boy. She turned her gaze back to Mom and Ma. You really know how to make someone feel appreciated. Her spirits were high. You could tell she was just as happy to be there as everyone was to see her. She left the door open, but ducked out to walk around the back of the car. She opened the trunk and lifted her luggage in. I'm gonna move your junk, Richie. I'll keep it in front of my bag so you can get it later. Ma's dropping you off first, right? Yes, but that's not junk. It's important. Liz slammed the trunk closed without responding. Liz swung around the door, around to the open door. You noticed that her new hair had a few flyaways, no doubt from a long day of traveling. She leaned against the frame of the car, giving you and Cove a significant look. I am not sitting in the middle. I already have 5 hours of that nightmare on the flight. There's no way I'm getting in between you two. I mean, really, who would ever want to be the person pulling Cove Holden and Richie James apart? Cove puffed up indignantly yet again at her classic tease of your relationship. Liz continued along like she didn't notice.
So?
I don't care how you decide who's scooting. I figured you can fight it out somehow. Cove glanced over at you and shrugged. He unbuckled his seatbelt and moved in the middle. I guess I'll always have a bossy big sister. Good job, I wasn't moving. I'm sorry you're always in the middle, Cove. Some people just must get their way. I guess I'll always have a bossy big sister. Always. It's the law. It's more like Liz will never change. Exactly, why would I need to? With the window seat open, Liz squished herself into the car and shut the door. When everyone was settled, Ma began to pull out.
Let's go.
We're off! Liz crossed her legs, compacting herself slightly. She braced most of her weight on the door behind her instead of sitting up straight. It gave her a little more room. Hopefully we finish the journey. This car is almost as old as we are.
Now.
And still just as good as you are. All the complaining definitely means Liz is back. We're equivalent to this junker? Hey, I love this old car. You had spent hours there sitting in that very seat. It had taken you so many different places. The car had good times, bad times, so much in between. You really hope that it kept running. Like, it'd be bizarre if the car was ever sold. Aw, Richie. How touching. Mom turned up the radio as Ma merged onto the highway. The station was familiar, the normal soundtrack for when she had driven you and Liz around. Liz bounced in her seat, enjoying the classic tune. The song would be old enough to vote at this point if it was a person. That was hard to believe. With Liz, the conversation livened up despite it getting later and later in the night. She told you all about her week, all the travel preparations she made. By the time she'd made it to the actual tale of her travel itself, Liz started chuckling. On the plane, Liz had sat next to a couple of girls who talked a lot about how they could read people. Liz recounted their conversation with her in hilarious detail, as they had apparently tried to guess her occupation after only shaking her hand. Neither of the girls could agree with one another, and Liz had refused to just tell them. However, the drive to your hotel was only so long. Eventually, your group arrived. You yawned and got out of the car when it stopped. Cove clambered out after you. Liz gave a loud sigh of relief at all the extra space she found herself with. You and Cove grabbed the luggage and then waved off your family after you said your goodbyes. After they left, you and Cove went to go find your room. You scanned the key card to unlock your hotel room. It sounded out a soft beep, and you turned the handle of the door. This looks really, really fancy. The door creaked open, and then you craned your head to take a look in. The first thing you noticed was a large king-size bed in the middle of the room. It was a prim, modern-looking space. It seemed clean and smelled faintly like floral air freshener. A smile played on Cove's face as he watched you take in the space. The bed's nice, huh? Which one of us is gonna use it? He burst out laughing. You glared at him. Are you serious? Here we go again. Me, you can fend for yourself. Here we go again. I'm kidding, I'm just kidding. I want to share, really. Good. Cove let out a breath in relief that he'd been holding on to. I got a good hotel, didn't I? You picked out a nice one. It's passable. I guess we'll manage. Thanks for handling this. I'd say it's nice. It's the same hotel I would have picked on my own. It makes sense. It makes sense you'd go for this one. Looks like your room at Kyra's place. You nodded wordlessly in approval. Yeah, you picked out a nice one. Ko smiled like a big pleased puppy. You and Ko continued to chat as you settled in. You unpacked some of your stuff and checked out all the room's amenities. Ko pointed out the mini fridge and started puzzling over what food could be ordered to the room. However, the fact was you both were exhausted. It didn't take too many yawns before you both changed your pajamas and called it a day. You had to hunt along the wall to locate the light switch. And when you finally found it, you flicked it off with a sense of triumph. Ooh. You turned your head over to Cope, who stood behind you in his pajamas. He was cozy and comfortable, but the pieces didn't match. He never minded that. We should get some sleep. Cove smiled and his soft expression was adorable.
All right.
Okay, let's go to sleep. Despite saying that it was bedtime, Cove took a step forward towards you. He wrapped his arms around your back, and you leaned into his embrace. Then he lifted you off your feet. What? Still not putting you down, Cove promptly dropped himself backwards. The both of you crashed into the tight tucked sheets in the hotel bed. He laughed the entire time. Cove bounced on the landing and absorbed most of the impact. You laid on his chest, feeling a little jostled. You're an absolute madman, you teased. You could have warned me. That was scary. Let's do it again. You swatted his shoulder for that. You're an absolute madman. You shook your head jokingly. His laughter turned into a snort. He smiled up at the ceiling, a thought clearly crystallizing. My dad used to do that kind of thing to me when I was little. Sort of. Nostalgia was clear in his voice. It was a fond memory, and you felt something warm in your chest. You made a small noise of understanding, and that turned into a yawn. When Cove yawned in return, you pulled at the sheets until you were actually under the blankets. Don't let the bugs bite. Sweet dreams. You stuck your tongue out at him playfully. Hey, so do you know why pigeons are called pigeons when they're actually doves? Sweet dreams. You kissed his lips. Why not? You shifted yourself closer so that you could lean in. You kissed Cove and felt his lips perk into a smile before kissing you back, obviously enjoying his goodnight kiss. Cove wrapped his arms around you and snuggled next to you. He let out a contented breath. You reached out and held Cove under one arm. Then you used your other one to comb through his hair. The two of you relaxed into one another, and you knew neither of you would want to be anywhere else. I can't believe you were really here. You and Liz and everyone else are gonna be here in Sunset Bird again. I was staring at all the scenery going by while we were driving here. It honestly felt like we never left. He ran a hand down his face. I mean, in some ways it feels like it's been ages and everything's different. Some of that is definitely because I'm staying here at a hotel instead of being in my room at Dad's. But yeah. It's exciting. Cove nodded it. He understood completely. I'm looking. A yawn forced an interruption in the statement. Cove was undeterred. I'm looking forward to this. He tucked in his head into your neck. You felt his lashes flutter close against your skin. Same here.
See you tomorrow.
I'll see you tomorrow, Richie. His words were a whisper you barely heard. It might not even have been that exactly, but you might have just been guessing. Cove always had a habit of mumbling. It was okay either way, whether you heard it or only thought you heard. The sentiment was true regardless. Cove would see you tomorrow when he opened his eyes, and the sunlight returned to your hometown of Sunset Bird. You comfortably drifted off to sleep, eagerly awaited seeing Cove tomorrow as well. Your eyes gently opened to see a dim, unfamiliar ceiling. You recalled where you were, the hotel room. Okay, I think I'm gonna go ahead and leave this episode here for now. So, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Be sure to leave a like, comment what you think, share this video with your friends, and be sure to subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss a single notification. I'll see all of you in the next video. Goodbye!